Tonight's show, we're talking about the fall and the rise of culture. And I'm answering all your questions with live readings coming up right now.
Does it look like a Devin or David?
David is his name. It's been so spot on.
And I don't know if you put it in the side of your end table or not. You like to summon your end table with it too.
My God, you're crazy.
Yeah.
You might be hard on your right knee when you're running. Make sure you're not too hard on the right knee.
100%.
Okay.
Honey, I'm a runway walker. Okay.
I don't know what she's showing me flowers. Like, relay them or redo them. These purple flowers.
Oh my God, Scott, the flowers are right there. My orchids are purple. They completely are dead.
Yeah.
Did you even know? You nailed
100%.
everything, every single thing. Listen, everyone, this guy.
Tell me something that he told you that came true.
Everything he's predicted has come true.
I just don't see it.
Who doesn't have cancer?
It's very possible.
Camera's psychic, who first questioned Brooke's cancer.
Scott Cruz.
Oh, there you won! You won!
You better question yourself. We're here to bring enlightenment, not confusion.
You might encounter negative aspects of self, but that's a freeing experience.
Because then they start realizing that they can't think outside the box. And I said, if you can't think outside the box, then who's the stupid one here? The solution for me is awakening people to the bull.
I agree.
People need to stop being deterred by nonsense. You gotta summon the people. I don't just come on here and talk or parrot. I'm living it.
In harmony with nature, in a mystical adventure, we're building on the culture.
Happy Thursday Night Live, everybody. How are you all doing? Welcome to the Cruisyverse. How's the week been? It's been a heavy week, a sluggish week, I will say. And it feels repetitive, right? Oh, another heavy week. Oh, another slow week. But, and my partner asked me, he's like, why is there always something astrologically that's causing things to be heavy? I said, well, because we have been accelerating collectively. So instead of like things going up and then down and then up and then down, it's been like kind of up and down, up and down. It's been like very quick. We're accelerating. Things have been actually taking up a lot of pace in our collective and how we're learning. So it's almost like right when we're done with the down moment, we have an up moment, the down moment is back again. And same thing with the up moment, to be up very quickly too. So understand this is kind of the current that we're on, that it will be accelerated, but you'll feel these ups and downs rather quickly. And then, in time we'll get used to balancing that act, with that balancing act and understanding how to kind of navigate and level out the roughness of our trajectories and so forth. So, but I always say during this time, it's really important to take those clues, right? If you're tired, sleep. If you're sick, nurture, get better, stop fighting it. And a lot of times what people do is they fight it. Oh, it's like getting in the way. And so I have to keep pushing forward. And then boom, you'll have a situation that'll force you to focus on yourself and to slow down. So if spirit and life is telling you to slow down, you can't fight with life in that way. It's gonna force you to slow down, and you're gonna have to accept that. And so surrendering. And when you get into surrendering with the collective, I can just sense it, because before I started, I just heard in my mind's eye, spirit whisper to me and say, collective reading is going to be all about surrendering. And we'll talk about what that really means. Not the bumper sticker aspect of surrendering, but what it really means. And I always say surrendering coincides with allowance too. So we'll get into that. But first, let's see who's in the room here, right? And just a little bit of an FYI, I'm not doing card pulls tonight, and I'm not doing live video readings tonight because I am burnt, and I've been burnt out for about a week and a half now. And so I'm actually taking things very lightly. And so this week, this live show is like, instead of, postponing this live show, I would like to just keep it simple, keep it with questions, direct questions, simple questions, please. Nothing that requires a full read. And I won't be doing mediumship tonight either. So there will be some limitations tonight. And I also have to be working, doing not LOL, but UTL, United Light live stream as well on Saturday. So I need to keep it at a minimal and preserve a lot for my clients, my pre-book clients, my main sessions. So tonight, just one question, two or three questions, again, $20, $30, $40. The Venmo and PayPal links are in the description below. A wonderful mod, Nina, is in the room. She will help guide you on that as well, and how to do so. And if you have booked a video reading, I will refund the money, because I think I saw a couple. I'll just refund it and maybe come back with questions. So I'll look at that when we come to the live reading section. And today, we're talking about, the fall and the rise of culture. I'll keep it very simple, but we'll talk about what that looks like. And what does that mean? How to navigate this? Because I think a lot of us are seeing the clues and the tail signs that our previous way of living and our previous culture has been dying a slow and painful death. So what does that mean for resurrection of culture? We'll get into that too. All right, let's use Chatty Cathy in the room. Let's get some acknowledgements here. Jennifer Cruz, my mama's in the house. What's going on? Alma Ford, good to see you. Brenda Zweck. Susan Willen, excuse me. You're not a villain. You're a Wilen. I hope I'm saying it correctly. The text is this big on my screen. My sister from the same mister, Lisa Cruz, good to see you. Darby Mabry, hello. I love the little peek. Scott's talking on LOL. Want to play? Yeah, Macy was the timing of Macy wanted to play last night was quite awesome, right? Wonderful Monina's in the room. She's feeling a little better, but again, she's no card pull from her, reading from her tonight too, because she's taking it easy too. So us empaths have to know our limits, and so she'll be back soon with the message for y'all. Iggy, can't you see? A Rockefeller, fucker fella. I know, fucker fellas. That was a key element of a term last night on LOL. So if you guys are missing LOL, we changed it to Wednesday nights. So it's Wednesday nights, 6 p.m., and then we have my Thursday nights here at 6 p.m. So I wasn't going to trade my Thursday nights for that. Ketra Oracle Magic, good to see you. That was a good one last night. Yeah. Ambergeddon, good name. Good to see you, David Cruz, Angie Russell, Colette Love, Casclo, good to see you. We said that as well. Kate, yo, Cassie Berry, happy Thursday to you as well. James Porterfield, yo, good to see you, man, my friend. Angie Russell, good to see you as well. I might have blown through some signs, but oh well, okay. Well, you're here early, that's good. Horse Trigger Hope, good to see you. Susan William and Rashida, good to see you. Hope you're doing well. Love the new picture. Looks great. Looks fantastic. Fabulous. Christy, good to see you. Show your choice, respect. Well, exactly, because not every week's gonna be the same, and so next week we'll get back to the card pulls and all that great stuff too. But busy week ahead. Susan William, we already said you. Ron G, good to see you as well. See, I'm a little out of it. Christina Noel, good to see you as well. And those of you who are watching, I can't see who's watching. I don't see who's chatting. So welcome aboard. And I have hair all over my shirt because I shaved my beard, as you can see. So. Have you guys ever seen me be a mess? Here I am today, being sloppy mess and cash. Okay, but let's shuffle these cards. Let's see what the collective message is. I already know the theme is surrender, but we'll see what we can add in conjunction to such. And those of you who are new, I'm a psychic medium. I don't need tarot, but I use tarot as a guidance and collective purposes like this to help guide and navigate the message for those of you watching. And already having cards falling. So, let's see. It's always a reason for that, right? Okay. Okay, interesting. Maybe some oracle cards too. Since we had full moon in Scorpio, it was definitely very, very heavy as well, right? So, okay, we doing it well. Abby Coe, good to see you, and thank you, Rashida, for the hairstyles. I actually think my best hair last week was my best hair day. I just had it cut. So now I'm trying to emulate last week's hair because I'm like, I just had it cut, looked fresh. But all right. What else we have here? Okay. Practicality, that makes sense. All right. Should I do some oracles? Yeah, why not? They're in my drawer here. See, guys, even I cannot be as sharp as I usually am, but I will be sharp when I tune in, I promise. But sometimes, you just gotta, I'm always trying to be like a perfectionist, and my partner was making fun of me about this just 10 minutes ago, because I'm like recording the intro, and then I'm like, oh my God, my beard needs to be shaved and trimmed. He's like, oh my God, will you just stop? I'm like, I'm just a perfectionist. I see things how I want it to be, and I'm like, I gotta get it that way, and I'm just like, maybe I should just not care so much. Not care so much, but be so anal. And that could be part of the message too, of surrendering as well. So, all right, you're gonna get Wackadoo Scott. Okay, give me a couple seconds. Let me just tune in on this message here. Okay, all right. So it is surrendering. What does surrendering mean? Because we hear it all the time. It's a very new age bumper sticker. Oh, surrender, let go, let God. And so what the hell does that mean? If people knew what that means, they'd do it easily. They wouldn't need to be reminded of that. But what I like to say is surrendering is allowing. It's an allowance. When you allow your circumstances to be what they are and allow yourself to navigate through it, that's surrendering to it. Because many times when people are going through difficult times, they just want to get out of it or get through it, get out of it, get through it, get out of it, get through it. And they're just so focusing on how to get out of it. They're not understanding the lessons underneath what they're going through that's teaching them and molding them to become a better version of themselves. So we all hear people talking about the better version of yourself. Be the better version of yourself. And it sounds so freaking cliche. It's like, what does that mean? All these circumstances, all these trials and tribulations that you're experiencing is the gateway to that better version of yourself. But if you're so focused on getting over it or overriding the circumstances, you'll keep coming back to it eventually, and you won't allow yourself to grow. And so surrendering really means that you're saying, these are the circumstances that I'm in. I'm surrendering to the process of such. I'm going to understand how I can navigate through this and what it's really teaching me and what I really need to focus on to develop the momentum to increase and to grow out of this. Right? To grow out of it, not to get out of it, to grow out of it. Big difference. Because getting out of it's like some sort of a bypass, a cheat sheet, just because you're just focusing on being free. But in a sense, the circumstance is teaching you that you're not free. You're in bondage within the self. Whatever the situation is, whatever the circumstance is, because the circumstance is just a reflection of an inner imbalance. Right? So when we allow the process, you allow your life to unfold the way it's unfolding, you can navigate better, because the way things are unfolding in your life is coming from your subconscious. It really isn't the fact that even though you didn't dictate for these things to happen to you, even though you didn't dictate for these negative circumstances to happen to you, you have to understand your subconscious had rendered those things in your life that you're not wanting or you're having difficulties with. So the question is, why? What brought this here? What about me is unconscious that created these circumstances that I'm faced with, that I'm challenged with, so to speak? When you start asking those questions, you will learn more about yourself, correct, heal, or nurture the parts of yourself that need nurturing or healing or correction, and then you become the better version of yourself through that realization. See how simple it is? It's a very simple formula. It's not very complicated, right? But the issue is we love drama. For some reason, humans love drama. You know, Three of Swords is really kind of about emotional pain. But in this circumstance, for me, the Three of Swords is sounding like we all somehow just love the drama. Because sometimes we can feel through the drama. But we need to ask ourselves, do I need this drama? Right? And when I say drama, I just don't mean like conflict. Drama like, oh, being emotional, right? Oh, you know, just feeling hurt, feeling pain, getting that, you know, validation. We just need the drama, right? But if you look behind the drama, we're looking for satisfaction. Right? Even those that like to watch reality TV and the drama shows, some people like the satisfaction of seeing resolve or seeing resolve of conflict or just like conflict, right? So when you're looking for that drama, when I say drama, again, it doesn't mean conflict. Drama means like theatrical, like just a lot of emotional energy. What are you depriving yourself of? What version of you is deprived of energy that needs drama, that needs to make things such a big deal and holding on to the drama in your life? And again, that means you're not surrendering to your circumstances, which is creating, you know, you're trying to find the love and the energy through the drama. We're saying, the drama's trying to say, really navigate you in the direction how to have the true essence of love, the true essence of what you're wanting. You don't need the complications. You don't need the, about to sneeze for a moment. The timing of that too. You don't need the itchies, right? But you don't need the difficulty to feel. You don't need the challenges or the bad relationships just to feel emotion. You don't need pain just to feel emotion. And so we got so used to being deprived of love, they're only used to pain. And we're saying to you, when you understand, you stop fighting against the love or fighting against the pain, surrender to the process, you'll understand exactly why things are rendering the way they're rendering, which gives you the opportunity to create that better version of yourself. I'm going to sneeze again. Whew. All right. That was a long time coming. These lights too always screw with my allergies, and I just have allergies. And we've had a lot of rain here, in Sparks, so that's also screwed with my allergies. But it's different than Palm Springs. I feel like I can get it out here. In Palm Springs, I couldn't get it out. So those of you who know, suffer with allergies. See what I'm saying? But But again, that's part of me not breathing, not allowing myself to breathe. And even through this time of trying to relax and unwind, I'm so like pressuring myself. Should I do it? Should I overextend myself? And I always feel like every physical manifestation that we have is actually a reflection of what's going on psychologically and what's imbalanced. Right? So if you have issues with sinuses, allergies, or you can't breathe, or you're having issues literally, or figuratively, breathing. So learn how to breathe in life. Learn how to exhale. And Spirit always has to remind me, Scott, exhale. You're always like pushing. You're always pushing. You're always, output. Learn how to just like breathe and chill. Like take a chill pill, right? And so this creates movement. This allows you to move. This realization of surrendering actually creates more movement. A lot of people think surrendering means giving up. Surrendering does not mean that you're giving up. It's quite the contrary, right? Surrendering means that you're actually allowing the process, which gives more movement, that allows you to actually really see the future. That allows you to, evoke your psychic awareness and your psychic ability that's always there. Your intuitive awareness is always there. And when you're finding the clues and the lessons through the challenges, you're tapping more into yourself. You're tapping more into who you truly are, which will give you insights to past life incarnations, your current incarnational purpose, the direction of your future. You'll have all that realization at your disposal. It's already within you, but it's blocked because you're resisting those challenges. And it's also trying to be practical because, the King of Pentacles, Knight of Pentacles, in an emotional read for me, always talks about practicality. Sometimes you might be, and I've been saying this for quite some time too, the past few months, about overly mystifying things, especially overly mystifying spirituality. When you're in circumstances and challenges, keep it practical. If you just need some downtime, take the freaking downtime. Don't overly mystify that. Surrender to the downtime. Surrender to what you need. If you can't show up, then you just can't show up. Be practical about that. Does it mean you'll never be able to show up? No, of course not. But let's be practical about this. I can't show up now, but I'll build up the amount of energy, the momentum I need of self-care so I can show up more so in the future, or be more consistent in the future as I understand my downtime. Be practical. Right? Everything needs a refill. Everything needs a reset. Everything needs a reboost. Surrender to understanding that. Right? And of course, the Fool card says when you do so, that's when new beginnings happen. You become new again. You see, we love new energy. Some people are addicted to getting in and out of relationships because they just love the newness of a relationship. Then it gets stale, they get out, and they like the excitement of having a new relationship again. So we all like that newness. We get a new car, we love that new energy, right? And so then when the car wears out, it's not as exciting anymore, and we get a new car, that new car energy again. And so we love the newness of things. So we can provide that for ourselves every time we have a downtime. They come back new again. We come back new again. We have that excitement again. So allow yourself to have downtime so when you come back new, it's exciting again. Life becomes exciting. You come with a new, fresh perspective. But there's no exciting energy behind burnout. There's no exciting energy when you're like slumping along. Oh, I'm just trying. I just got to show up to where I have to do that. There's no excitement behind that. Nor is there any type of productivity. You're actually going to cause more of a delay for yourself because you'll start doing things wrong or incorrect or making the wrong decisions for yourself because you're not being fully focused and fully aligned, right? So it's time to take those clues. Like I said before, surrender to the motion. Allow yourself to be practical in that energy, in those energy states. And practicality means you're being rational. Because sometimes we overly mystify things. We forget about being rational and our normal rationale on things, and that's important for us to understand too, right? Let's kind of see too with these cards are very cliche, right? The Purity card next to Fruition card and Wisdom, right? Let me interpret that into more layman's, less hokey terms, right? The Purity card means that we always have a fresh start for me. So I think purity, like a pure energy, is not contaminated. We can always purify the soul. We can always purify our perspective. We can always cleanse our perspective, what we're feeling, what we're thinking. At any times, we can wipe it clear. Because inherently, our soul is pure. It's not affected. It's not distorted. So so many people say, "Oh, my soul is hurt, or my soul is bleeding, or it's damaged my soul." It's like, no, your soul is never damaged. You might be experiencing an emotion of that in the physical sense, but your soul is pure. So whatever experience you have, we can always go back to the state of purity. We can always go back to the state of cleansing, of healing, of understanding, of clear insight. We can always go back to that state. That is our natural state, purity. So when we understand this, then we can allow whatever, and the fruition card for me is basically saying that no matter what we do, and we understand that purity within and the solidifying of our soul energy, then we can understand what things are doing in our lives and why, and how to actually manifest the things that we want to manifest. Now, when I say manifest, I'm talking about taking action and being the person you want to become to get those things that you say you want, which those things you'll realize are just expressions of you that you've been dying to express. But that all comes from the wisdom of self, understanding the wisdom of you and how to navigate yourself through this physical world and through the collective purpose, and understanding what the soul is here to navigate and to accomplish. That's the wisdom. Because more of that growth, yes, I would say every realization is a manifestation. We realize something that will manifest. You realize something that will manifest. So that's kind of the process. Every realization is the manifestation. It's what creates the manifestation. So I'm going to pull a couple more cards to close it out and get quickly into topping, quickly into the weeds, and then we'll close it down. We'll keep it, short and sweet today. But this is a really simple message, right? Surrender to the rhythm. Now I sound like I'm Gloria Stefan. Surrender to the rhythm, right? I mean, I don't know if that's not a song of hers, but it sounds like a song that'd be one of her songs. Surrender to the rhythm. Surrender to your circumstances by allowing to be what they need to be so you can navigate out of it. Simple. Be practical. Okay? That creates movement. That creates new beginnings. And, gratitude is a very cliche thing we hear all the time. Oh, be in gratitude. Have gratitude. What the hell does that mean? Look at gratitude as a power. Okay? So there's different powers and tools that we can utilize. Gratitude is a power. Okay, that means that you're putting value back into the things that you once put value in before. And when you do and you show that gratitude, you appreciate those things and the value increases again. So the more appreciation you have, the value will go up. And so when the value goes up for yourself, you start dedicating yourself in that newness of energy that we said before. It's exciting. And then those things start to evolve more. They start to expand more. They can change more. So gratitude is a power. It means I'm going to take the things I have now and focus back on the things I have now, and I'm going to appreciate those things. Okay? It's not like you're thanking, thank you, God, for giving this to me. Well, no, the things you have in your life, you created for yourself, yes. And of course, through your evolution and through your bumping around your spiritual journey, things will align with you and for you. But it's also good to be thankful and have gratitude for people who have helped you in your journey too, and people who have been supportive of you. There's always someone in your life. So many people are so focused on deprivation through their circumstances, and they're fighting against their circumstances, not surrendering for the circumstances. They're always putting themselves in a state of deprivation. I don't have this. I need more of this. That they're forgetting there have been people who have been by your side through this challenge too. How about speak a little gratitude and show a little appreciation for that too? Those who've been really assisting you during your time of challenge. To allow you just to surrender into such. To understand, I could be thankful for these things. Not all is bad here. Not all is ill. Right? And then you will understand, because this is called, the path is right here. This is the path right there. The path. Then you understand, it's all part of my path. It's all part of my journey. I got it. I surrender. I was supposed to go through that challenge. I've chosen these challenges, these deprivations to learn, to bring my soul out to more of an expression that I can see in the tangible world, in the physical world. Right? You understand, it's part of my path. I can't resist it. I can't resist these repetitive challenges. It's part of my path. So a lot of times people say, am I on the right path? Or I feel like I'm off path. It's like, no, it's all part of your path. All of it is. All the things you didn't want, all the things that frustrated you, all the loss, that's part of your path. So your path doesn't mean it's a yellow brick road with no challenges and just like a clear road of just happiness. That's what I came for, to avoid all circumstance and challenges. I just came because the path is supposed to be easy. Wrong. The path is not an easy path. Your difficult path is the path. Remember this. The issue is that you keep yourself stuck in the past because you're looking at, oh my God, this shouldn't be here. You don't surrender to it. So therefore you keep yourself in contempt to it, stuck in it, right? Understand your challenges is your path. And what you want to do is make sure that you're not expanding it. You're not dragging it out and dragging yourself through the mud. And that's because of lack of surrender to such, and lack of acceptance of such, and the lack of evolution from such. That's why. Now, the mask, I love that the masculine card came out here, because that's what the divine masculine is too. The divine masculine is going to push forward no matter what. The divine feminine is like, I'm going to learn and nurture the circumstance. I'm going to learn through this experience. I'm not going to judge it. I'm going to understand everything happens for me for a reason. And I'm going to expand and find my power through it. And the divine masculine says, I'm going to push myself to make sure I do so. I'm going to fight through this. I'm going to push myself through this, right? I'm going to push myself to learn. I'm going to push myself to be strong. So we got to understand the divine masculine we all possess. And divine masculine is a spiritual component. It's not gender. We're talking spiritual component here. We all have a divine feminine, divine masculine. Either your male, female, physical body, whatever your sex or gender is, doesn't matter. We all have the divine masculine, divine feminine, whether it's out of balance or in balance or not. We all have the two duality of such. So we need to remember our divine masculine energy is to push forward, is to be strong and brave. I say, I'm going to conquer such. I'm going to push through this. Right. So, so that's important for us to understand. Right, in that sense. But surrendering is allowing, which also creates movement and growth. That's important for us to understand, right? So that's a simple collective read today. But we were, moving into our topic too, which is, the fall and rise of culture. Now, back in 2013, 2014, I wrote about kind of like how things will be changing with our culture, celebrity culture dying, right? False, philosophies and religious aspects will start taking a downturn, a decline. Also, almost like the aspect of politics will start revealing itself, and people start seeing through the aspect of politics and how that's been duping a lot of people within our culture. So we're starting to notice that decline. We've started to see the decline with celebrity culture, things with people who are, on top and now being exposed for all these, devious and horrible, acts of SA, right? I can't even say it, I'm not here to get monetized, but, sexual abuse and all these other things that people are being exposed for. And being very unhappy people, not living by their word. And, we're starting to see celebrity culture die down this way. But also now we're noticing that with politics. Now we're also noticing, too, within our own media and how things are going. What do we believe in? So it's like, I was speaking to my partner earlier because, there was just a quick article saying, oh, they discovered there might be a 13th planet. And then the article was just kind of saying like, oh, they found some sort of anomaly in space or whatever like that. It's like, yeah, but why don't they so people can hear that, say, oh, there's 13 planets now. And then be like, no, it's not. It's just, they haven't really discovered it yet. They're kind of speculating. It's like all this information that we have out here that, the game of telephone and such causes so much misinformation. But the good side of that is people are saying, I don't know what to believe anymore. I don't know if I can believe that article. I don't know if I can trust that or not, because what that's doing is pushing us and forcing us to use our discernment now. So everything on the spiritual level and the collective level, that rising of such and the elimination of, being force-fed what you're supposed to believe and hear and listen and watch and eat, being force-fed all information is now on its decline. Then now we're starting to rise up and saying, now I got to use my own discernment. Because if you want to look up anything, any argument for anything, you'll find anything supporting any argument. Scientists on opposing ends both, proving their case is legitimate, even though they contradict each other. So then what is true if everything can be proven in that sense? So that's why the rising of our culture is really coming from the heart, being heart focused. And I know it sounds very cliche, but many people don't understand what that means to come from the heart. When it means to come from the heart, you understand your true purpose. You're understanding what is true for you now, not what society expects of you, not what society or culture is demanding what is trendy or not. You're using your own unique expression of saying, this is what I choose to experience, what I choose to express, what I choose to put out into the world. This is what I choose. This is my voice. That's the rising of our new culture. And what that also means, it's going to be diverse. It's not going to be wrapped up in Christianity. It's not going to be wrapped up in Buddhism. It's not going to be wrapped up in, Judaism. It's going to be actually a unique expression across the board where everyone's going to have a different say on everything. Because even within, say, the Christian religion, everyone has a different perspective, different take on what Christianity is. Everyone has a different take on what Buddhism is. Everyone has a different take on what Islam is. All these different religions that are just, so many different even divisions of one religion, because everyone has a different perspective on things, which is right, which is correct. They're all correct based on the individual. And then once we at least can understand each one has a unique individual voice, we can then be more certain about the fundamental grounded truth of reality. You see, because everyone's trying to fight to make their voice heard in modern culture, that everyone's trying to prove that they're right, this one's wrong, that one's right, this is wrong. See, that's the issue. But that's causing the decline of culture. That's causing the decline of our society, because no one's right and no one's wrong. It all is true. And that's what causes mastery, what creates mastery in the physical world, because everyone has a different idea of how life should be lived. But when we also understand each other's unique individual voice, we'll understand the common denominator is empathy. The common denominator is we all want everyone to have support. We all want everybody to thrive. We all want everybody to be successful and to live a healthy life. We'll all understand we're doing it in different formats, and then that will expose those who are contrary to such. And those who are contrary to such will be the minority, of course. But we're too busy pitting each other off of which ideology is correct, even though they're both coming from a place of empathy, how this one needs to live their life, how that one needs to live their life, which is true, which is not true, which God's thinking, which God's not thinking. All this bullshit of parameters that's keeping the divide. But the pendulum has to swing left and right. And so at this point, all that division, all that fighting against about how people just need to live and let be, that all this defragmentation is causing the decline of our culture and the crashing of our culture. And I say, good, it needs to. It needs to. And so people are starting to even recognize with politics that, no matter what party that's in favor, it's all smoke and mirrors, guys. We're always going to be disappointed when we keep playing this left-right paradigm thing dealing with politics. That's crashing. People are starting to see through that now too. Right? And so when we recognize that someone's FaceTiming me, when they know I tell people, I do my live shows, and my friends still want to call FaceTime during a live show. It's like, hello. And so what we need to understand is the rising of this new culture is that you need to use your individual voice and let others have theirs too. Because at the end of the day, majority of people are not trying to harm anybody. They have a belief. They have a limited belief, or they're following a majority of a religion or ideology that if they just allow them to express their voice, and people allow themselves to express their voices, and that was the issue that creates our new culture. We're going there. It's just taking a long time to get there because people are not wanting to let go of these beliefs that they've been holding on to for so long with their religion or what they've inherited, what they've grown up with. They're still saturated in that outdated logic that's preventing them from seeing things for what so things will have to get rough, and things have gotten rough, and they're going to get a little rougher too. But we're going in the direction where people just say, oh my gosh, just live, do what you want to do. It's none of my business, none of your business. Let's just live. And then we start accepting that diversity in that sense. And I'm not talking about like identity politics diversity. I'm talking diversity about voice, of expression. Okay, and how people choose to see things and live and experience their life through the world. Because the majority of people just want to make a good living, be happy, and raise a family. And I don't mean family like traditional family. I'm talking about just friendships and partnerships. That's all majority of people really want to do. But too many people in this day and age are bickering and arguing just because they should say, I don't agree with your relationship. I don't believe that you should express yourself that way. That's what we're arguing about, really? We just let them live and let them be. Is there really going to be any kind of devastation to our culture? No, there'll be an expansion of our culture. But that's breaking down. And if that makes you uncomfortable, good. Because you need to be uncomfortable to break out of your own modality of thinking too. Because somebody else's decision to live their life should not make you uncomfortable. If it does, look within yourself. It's shining a light at you. Saying there's something with you that you can't allow someone just to be who they want to be because it makes you uncomfortable. What right do you have to be uncomfortable by someone else's decision, what they find happiness in? See, that's the new culture. That's the new rise, where people just accept people for their diverse expressions. And they're breaking down your limited view of what you think humanity should be, what structure should be. Because if we stay rooted in the old fundamental way of doing things with old Christian religion, Catholic religion, and that kind of Western thinking as we're in Western society right now, those of us in Western society, we'll never change. Nothing will ever expand. It'll just be a continuous loop. Different face, a new technology, but the same bondage. No expansion. And so, but in order to do so, both aspects of reality need to show that they're doing things incorrectly. It's not serving them. It's not serving the collective. So this is the rise of the new culture. So it looks more encompassing. And Spirit's been testing a lot of people about their bigotry, about their judgments, about their discriminations, about their limitations. And a lot of this has been, of course, used in the disguise of politics. Right? And just, rallying the same fucking talking points you've been hearing for the past 40 years, on both sides of the political spectrum. But it's going to rise up a group of people that really want to make change for the collective. And so that's the new culture. And a lot of people will be left behind. And this is kind of biblical about the revelation too. When people rise above, those who will be left behind will not be able to be a part of society because they will be an opposition to society as things increase spiritually, things move forward. And if you're the opposition, you will not be able to move around in society. It's what it is. But those who are very much encompassed and living let be and just allowing people to be expressive, because the soul is here to express. I say it across the board. So if the soul is here to express and here to express your soul, how in hell would you be in alignment of not allowing someone else to express their soul the way intended? If it ain't hurting anybody. Let's keep that simple. If it ain't hurting anybody. So look at the things that make you uncomfortable. Look at the things about people that make you uncomfortable and realize that's something within yourself that you have unresolved. Let me just start playing. That's funny. So we're breaking that down. The outdated ideas, the outdated logic, the limited thinking, the limited behaviors that we put that we place upon other people. Because the fragmentation in our society came from somewhere. And that became some people putting their nose in other people's business so it doesn't belong. And instead of keeping the nose in your own business. And again, the more we thrive individually, the more we allow ourselves to thrive in the collective. And the collective will thrive, and then we'll support each other. Okay? Keep your nose out of what people choose to do. And stop allowing politics to be the excuse for you to put your nose into other people's business. Because the more you do, you'll be left behind. Because that paradigm is breaking. It's collapsing, that paradigm. And it's going to be collapsing a lot quicker than you think. And so many people will have an aha moment, or I told you so moment, or you'll feel like the rug be pulled beneath you. But either way, that realization is coming, and be prepared for it. Be prepared for it. And I would say there's going to be a lot of changes coming in June, July with the change in our culture and the mass taking a thud, so to speak. The truth being revealed within our society and culture between now and June and July. And as well as even the light shining on those who have been maybe overlooked with their positive voices. So those who've been maybe, they've been overshadowed by the negative, those people their voices will shine through. So, but the new culture is that wisdom, being in that state of wisdom and understanding the truth and solidity of expression. And when you allow people to be expressive, they won't do it in a way that's destructive. Destruction comes from resistance. Destruction comes from repression. You do understand when you repress somebody, it's like an animal in a cage that just wants to get out of a cage, and it's like right. So many people are trying to repress other people because they don't think that's how they should live their lives. That's not up to you. Let go of that. Because the less an individual feels repressed, the less an individual feels silenced, the more free they can become with themselves, and in a very empowered, healthy way. That's the new culture. That means we have to leave behind older, outdated religious beliefs, older, outdated ideologies, older, outdated surrendering power to governments, older, outdated logic of just believing anything that you're told without doing research or learning for yourselves. Just putting your hands and life in the hands of a doctor instead of doing the research to understand how your body works and what works with the body and the chemistry of your own body and also chemistry of foods that support your body. If you don't learn this, again, you'll be swallowed by the system. And so we've seen, I don't know many guys who've noticed this too, there's been a lot of people who've merged in our timelines and a lot of people have merged out of our timeline. And you might just see a lot of people just kind of disappearing. Where'd they go? There's less and less people. Where'd they go? I won't explain where they will go and how they will go, but you'll start noticing a lot of that. But now it's time to understand how to really focus on your own voice. Don't worry about someone else's voice. Don't worry about how someone else is perceiving things. Allow them to have their perspective because they will evolve. The more you support someone, they will grow and evolve. They'll see the truth eventually. But if they feel like they have to keep being in a defensive state, they'll never learn. They'll keep having to just defend what is safe for them. And if you have to keep defending what's safe for them, they'll never realize that what they think is safe for them is actually a deterrence for their growth or what's good from them. It's time to rise above all this, guys. Take your prejudices and throw them out the window. And many people think that they've turned what they think is logic about law and order and actually use that to justify their own prejudices. They don't realize it. It's sad. It's sad. I for a while I was getting kind of swept up into that a little bit too, which I'm glad I was, so I can understand the logic behind it, so I can understand those who have those prejudices in the name of law. I understand where it's coming from. But take a step back and understand and ask yourself, what do you feel outside of politics? What do you feel outside of celebrity culture? What do you feel outside of media, news, and big pharma? What do you feel independent despite all of those outlets? And I call them programs. What do you feel? Learn to have your own point of view. Learn to have your own opinion. Learn to have your own perspective on things. And the best thing when you master that serenity, and you master also that solidity, or that sovereignty of self in a sense, and you also master that clarity, you start realizing there's truth in everything. Everyone really has a point. Majority of people really do have a point. They're coming from a state of empathy, whether we agree or not. Everyone is coming from a place of love, or fighting for a place of love in that sense. So you're not going to see that if you're in a state of judgment. It's not going to happen. And that's old paradigm stuff. So get yourself situated now. Be objective now what's going on with culture. Be objective about how people feel. And be curious to understand how people are feeling and why they might feel what they're feeling. Just to take a step back a little bit and understand that at the end of the day, when your life is over, do you think you're going to be concerned about whether or not a person is dressing in a wig or not? Do you think you're going to care about whether or not someone had sex with the same sex or not? Do you think you're going to care about whether or not somebody came to this country because they were seeking asylum or not? Right? That does not mean that we don't have structure, but what is the emphasis that we're really putting on things right now? What are we being duped on? Are we really focused on what's important, is what I'm saying to you. And right now, people are focused on things that are not that important versus in comparison to what is really important, just in the name of politics and what they think is, saving the planet, which is really not saving the planet, on both sides of politics. So again, it's being heart focused. New culture is being heart focused, and heart focused doesn't mean that you're just like in state of love or you're just kind of being hokey dokey. Heart means that you understand what is true. You understand that the balance of reality and life, and seeing life as an objective, collective experience. And you understand it's not your business to tell somebody else how they should express themselves. You're not God. It's created for a reason. We have creation for a purpose. Things have expression for a reason. That is what God is that continuation of creation. So for you to say it shouldn't exist, then you're being judgmental, and that's actually putting more judgment on yourself. So let's get past that. Okay? And if you're uncomfortable because of somebody else's behaviors, how they're living, when it doesn't really affect anybody, you want to resolve those issues within yourself. Otherwise, you continue to the chaotics and the divide of our world unconsciously. And people don't recognize. Now, for one, I've been realizing with a lot of this narratives going on, I didn't really notice this until recently when, my partner was in hospital because he had surgery on a hernia, esophageal hernia. And when I went in there, and I just went to show affection and give him a hug and a kiss on the cheek, and I'm thinking to myself, I was being paranoid, who's looking, because of the narratives. I don't know who's going to be bigoted, and I'm I shouldn't feel that way in 2025. And clearly there is a narrative going on. If I, who went at 15 years old, didn't give a crap, was walking around being, with my hand, holding my partner's hand in public at 15, 16 years old, didn't care then, why am I carrying it now at 43? There's something going around the narrative in our country that's creating this prejudice and bigotry where I'm looking out behind my back saying, I don't know if anyone's looking. That's not like me. So if y'all think it's about politics and y'all think it's a political thing, you're wrong. You're being duped. It's creating an emphasis and an undertone of prejudice. I don't care how you rationalize and intellectualize the reasons for it. But if you can't recognize this undercurrent of prejudice as being, thrown in our collective, you're blind. And if you're blinded by this and other people trying to alert you to this, you're going to get fallen behind and lost behind and left behind in the evolving of our culture. Because we have to evolve spiritually. There's a reason why all these things have been hitting us hardcore in our face. There's a reason for it. Not so you fight against it, so you get over it and move on and grow toward it. And so many people are so much fighting, and I'm looking even now, even with the Christians, how unchristians are these Christians in modern day society? Not all. We're talking generally in our public eye. How unchristian are they? And so we have to think about this. What does Christian really mean? If we think about love and the essence of love, and even the New Age communities are talking about essence of love, and a lot of New Age communities are not showing love. They're being too judgmental because of other people in their religion. And I always said, I have a right to be gay, but I also have a right for people have a right to hate me for being gay. Let them. I don't care. They'll learn. I'm not going to teach them by forcing it down their throat, but I'm teaching by living my life and just not being affected. Sooner or later, people be like, you're a cool cat. As in my life, I had people who like didn't really care for gay people, straight guys, when I was growing up. And they're like, but you're cool, Scott. But you're cool. I like you. Not all gays are. I'm like, well, why would you lump me in with anybody else? And what your prejudice is. Like they're like, yeah, I don't like gays, but you're cool. I'm like, what does that even mean? But that's a lot in our world because they don't have people just living their own lives. And again, that means that you're not, spending so much time and attention to people that hate you. Let them hate you. Just keep building your expression. Keep building your lives and expressing life the way you intend to. They'll catch on. The stronger you become and the stronger your group becomes, they have no influence. And don't be a part of that prejudice, no matter what it is, no matter where it's coming from, religion, politics, whatever ideology you're falling into. If it makes you cringe about another person, there's an issue there. Work on it because it's not going to survive in this new culture that's coming up. I've been saying this for quite a long time, and we have to be outspoken in a sense of that we're not going to allow people to silence our voice or expressions either. Okay, we're not shoving down your throat, but I'm still going to express some life and do what I need to do despite your prejudices. Okay, that's a new culture. That's coming here, so I just want to have like more of a discussion on this because I see just a massive undercurrent of this prejudice that people who have never been prejudiced before are starting to develop that prejudice against just people in general. And I've had, and I'm not going to lie, as a gay man, I had some prejudices back in the day about like trans and all that stuff. And so I met some trans people and trans friends and befriended them younger. And I'm like, wow, like they really had a very difficult, it wasn't easy for them. They just come out and say, I'm just going to pose this way. They had a very challenging experience and difficult, fighting against support. And so why would someone choose to not want to be supportive? They'll just play another act. If you think of playing an act for what? To be scrutinized? Especially gay people being scrutinized? And so no, and so I've learned, like, life has shown me, like, even through my own prejudices. I even had a prejudice against people who were like, I was at the gym in LA, these older guys had like all these injections and I was just like, and I knew spirit was testing me. I'm like, oh, I can't even look at those guys. And I was just like, wait, don't judge. And so I was just like holding it back, and no joke, one of the guys sat next to me next to a leg machine. I'm like sitting here, I'm like, God, this guy needs to try to flirt with me now. And I'm like, ugh, I was eating it inside, right? And my prejudice. Until he says to me, goes, hey, those are cool headphones. What kind of headphones are those? I'm like, oh, they're I forgot what the kind of headphones I were at the time. I said, some Italian headphones, I forgot at the time. And I go, yeah, they're really good. He goes, yeah, they have these crappy headphones. We just started talking headphones, and we had a great conversation, and he was like such a cool person. And I was thinking to myself, and I kind of laughed at my guy, said it was like testing me about my prejudice about how his appearance was. So nice, wasn't even trying to be flirtatious, talking tech, talking music. And then I met his partner. He came over, was nice and hilarious, and then I kept saying hello to them and just became friends with them when I was going to the gym. And people used to look at me weird, like, why is he talking to him? And I'm like, I don't really care, because these guys are very sweet, genuine guys, despite whatever issues they were having with their appearances. You know what I'm saying? So that woke me up to my own prejudices, and I realized people are just trying to make it through. People are just trying to survive. People are just trying to live their own life. Who are you to navigate how they're supposed to live it? Because you're uncomfortable by it? That's ending. And if you're not going to be accepting of this, watch what's going to happen. You'll be steamrolled in society. I promise you this, because that's ending. People are trying to make it through. And when you use your own heart, you recognize everyone has a story. You don't understand what their story is. And the struggles and the challenges. And you don't know that trans person may be battling so much, they summon the courage to say, you know what, I'm going to express myself, and I'm going to fight against society. That could be their karmic lesson, is just no matter what the circumstance and the expressions are, they're trying to fight the society, say, I'm going to push through no matter what and love myself. I'm just going to love myself. I'm going to push through and love myself. And you're all like, who are they to live that way? Really? The challenge is to feel that they could be confident enough and stand up and just fight against people who don't accept them. And who are you to be uncomfortable by it? What have you done in your life to fight against being uncomfortable? This is new culture. That's old culture. New culture is like, you encourage that. You encourage that. You encourage them to express that. And so the prejudice means that you're taking something that normal challenges that people go through and you start perverting it. I've seen so many people perverting gay communities, perverting trans communities, perverting, things that are just normal that people are going through, just perverting it, saying, well, this is why we can't have it because it's perversion. It's like, meanwhile, those are perverting. I've been seeing pastor after pastor after pastor after pastor being, charged with sexual abuse and sexual molestation, as I've experienced in the church. Where's the perversion coming from? So I'm sorry to go off topic here, but that's been embedded in affecting our culture. That's dying. It's not going to last any longer. Snap out of it. Snap out of that. Don't contribute to those undercurrents, those suggestions with politics that create and suck you into those prejudices unconsciously. And I've been noticing this happening. So now it's time to understand we need to break through that. Don't you let yourself be influenced by other people's perspectives and what the narratives are. Take a step back, take a breather, say, what do I really feel about this? Start there. If we did it all on the individual levels, we will thrive. And we realize those people we're uncomfortable by aren't really such a threat, actually. They're not a threat. They're actually nice people. They're kind-hearted people. They're just trying to figure it out too. Have you figured your life out? Let me ask you this. Have you figured your life out completely? I'm sure as hell you have not, right? Most people have not figured their lives out completely. So understand they haven't either. All because it's a different expression. Let them figure it out. You will figure it out too. New culture. That's new culture. Okay? And when we stop thinking in the confines of religion and government, watch how your mind will open. And I would say the politics have been very, very clever. Very clever politics has been, just because the religion isn't working anymore. So the politics have become the new religion. Very clever and making you stand up for beliefs that help your country or help a cause. We're actually creating prejudices as you're lining the pockets of politicians. I don't care what party you're on. I've been seeing this happen. It's clear as day. And it's sad to see people that don't recognize that. They're saying, yeah, but the country, yeah, but this. It's like, you have no clue what you're being. It's the modern day MK Ultra. Right? So it's time to break free of this. What do you think outside of politics? What do you think outside of, just from the heart and looking from the bigger perspective? If your son, daughter, brother, sister, mother, father were those people that you feel uncomfortable by and they were going through those challenges, how would you treat them? Ask yourself that question. Put yourself in someone else's shoes. It's time to do that now. It's time to be empathetic. And it's time to even, regardless of political ideologies and what you're thinking, it's time we cannot toss out empathy no matter what, because we'll never grow. But we are. Majority of people are. Don't be left behind. Okay? I'm just going to leave it there. I'm going to hop into these readings now. But I'm disgusted, really, at what's really going on with a lot of our culture. I mean, look at Kanye West now. Is like his latest song is Hail Hitler. He's selling Nazi stuff. What do you call it? Merchandise, like swastika shirts and stuff like that. He's selling, and where's the uprising of that? Right? That's okay. Why? Right? That's destructive, but that's okay. Why? But someone trying to find love through another relationship or trying to find themselves to express themselves differently, that's the problem. That's a threat. But it's okay for Kanye West to promote being an anti-Semite and selling merchandise of SWAT. That's okay. Why is that okay? And that's destructive. Why is a religion who defames people and bigoted towards people, why is that okay? But if someone expressing themselves, trying to be true to themselves, is not. Let's ask ourselves this question and why that is the main current in our culture and society, shall we? All right, moving on. Because I can go on about this, on and on and on and on about this. And so many people, maybe so many excuses because they're political bullshit. Which, I hate to break it to you, your political ideologies, you're being duped. And I think if that hasn't been prevalent now within our society, and you don't see it now, I don't know what to tell you. If you don't see it now, I don't know what to tell you. By the way, I'm going to get into this. Might as well. Who cares? By the way, I said this before and I'll say it again. The current administration is the puppets of Israel, of Israel politicians. I said it before and I'll say it again. And there's insider trading going on, period. That's what's going on. This is not for the country. It's for, again, self-interest and corporate interest. The current administration, I feel, has debt with Israel politicians, Israeli politicians, and he's paying a debt by being in the public eye, by being president. It's a narrative that's been created. I've said this before. I said it again. It's a charade. Okay. And if you're not seeing that by now, especially with Elon Musk, how he's come into with self-interest, how he didn't make money, but he made billions. If you haven't seen it now with, the spam of a meme coin, if you don't see it by now, I don't know what to tell you. Your intuition is in the toilet. So, and this is just a manifestation. Again, last administration, same thing. This administration is just another reflection that we're believing everything that we're told. And just like the religious freaks, it's in the Bible, so I believe this to be true of life. So I'm believing the sport, same thing. A politician says something, says, this is true, it's the best in history, but they believe it because it's been said, but it doesn't actually line with facts. This is a manifestation that people are banking on just being told something. Not actual research, not actual discovery experience. They're banking on just being told something. That's enough. It's in a book somewhere, some person wrote it down. That's enough for me. Don't be one of those people. I don't care what side you're on, actually. Just because someone said something, that's not enough for me. Because someone wrote it's not enough for me either. I don't care how long a book has been around. I'm sure the Lord of the Rings book and Harry Potter book will be around for 100 years. And it's like saying in the next 100 years that Harry Potter is the Bible. So it's time to snap out of this. It's how to understand this. And so, many people, and I'm going to close it on here because I've gone long enough that I want to. Many people have really good hearts. Many people who go into religion have really great hearts and are misled. Many people who are in politics have really good hearts. And my frustration is there are people with actual empathy and hearts being misled by narratives, by ideology. Right? Many people with great hearts are, they fall into certain criteria or certain, religions or groups, and the group itself is not good, but the person has a heart and empathy and, is trying to find their balance through that. There's a lot of people like that. And so, I think it's time for us to start recognizing, what are you really following? And if you're following a part of religion, Christian religion, all that stuff, there's many beautiful people who are Christian religions with beautiful hearts. I met a lot. And, they just kind of believe the fundamentals, but they're kind of more like new agey still. And so there's a lot of people like that. So it's not everybody, clearly, but it's just the fundamental groups we're talking about here. And there's a great quote that's going around. So many people don't need any proof to believe a lie, but need hundreds of proof just to believe the truth. It's just so backwards in a sense. And that's what we've come into this day and age, But it's going to change whether you like it or not. So if you're on board with that change, it'll be a wonderful journey for you. If you're not, you're going to have a difficult time. And I'm going to be very clear about this. Because you'll be resisting the natural state of evolution. Don't resist the evolution. Embrace the evolution of where life is heading. We're not supposed to repeat the past. We're not supposed to have the same expressions for 20, 40 years ago. We're not supposed to. We're supposed to evolve from that. Be open to this. And when you're open to this, then you will see the beauty of life. You'll detach from all these different ideas and ideologies and religion. You'll be so focused on your expression, helping those express. Life will become wonderful, and you'll be a great participant in that evolution too. Be a part of that. Be a part of that. Okay. All right. Ron G. and Trump in the Middle East. Yeah, I know it's funny. I just claim peace in the Middle East, but there's reasons for that too. I'm not going to get into that, but I think it's pretty clear. If you can't see it, I'm not going to spell it out for you. But I'm not saying you, Ron, but there's other people that don't see it yet, and it's like you can't see. If it's not clear now, then I don't know what to tell you. But so many people, guys, please understand, if you're with religion, ideology, and beliefs, people hold on because they don't want to be wrong, and they think by being wrong, it's like a life or death. Beliefs are like life or death. There's so many people that supported something or support a person or a religion. They're like, well, I can't not support it anymore because I chose it. Now I'm going to feel stupid, or I don't want to be wrong, or I believe that was my salvation. It's like, no. No. Don't be objective. Say, hey, look, I'm ready. I'm okay to dropping any belief if it proves to be, outside of what's true. Like be open to that. If you supported someone, voted for someone, if you believe in a religion or some sort of new age ideology, be willing to say, look, I'm willing to accept this is wrong, and if it proves such, I'm going to let it go. Be open. Be wise like that. Don't defend it. Unless it's the actual truth, but don't defend it. Okay, let's go to the reads here. Okay, so Mandy, you did a live video reading, so I'm going to refund you for that because I'm not doing them tonight. So, so I can either do the questions either through the chat here. So, Nina, can you, for Mandy, ask her how she would like to proceed? I'm not doing a live video tonight. It's been said. She did before I announced it, so that's not her fault. But if she wants to do the questions, answer questions through text here like this, or I can just send her back the money. So, okay. All right. Question from Sydney Aaron. Can you get a read on the house I'm seeing tomorrow morning for potential rental for me and kids? Okay, let me see. The house. What do I feel about the house? The house, Sydney's house feels fine. I don't get like a bad read on it. I don't think it'd be the one that you might choose. You can. It feels neutral. I'll say this. It feels neutral. So if you decide this house, you'll have to do things to amp up the energy, right? But it's a neutral vibe. You'll have to do it. You personalize it as much as you possibly can. I don't know if you'll choose it or not. That's not set in stone on this question. If it's set in stone, you'll go with this or not. But it feels okay. I think there might be something more in alignment to what you need or more match for your need outside of this. But this is also not bad either. So it's kind of like, it's all good, right? In a sense. But I would kind of look around because it might be something slightly more of a match. I don't want to say something better. I'm not going to get wrapped up in a loophole. There's always something better. Something more of a match. That's more matching what you need right now. So, but it seems okay. It seems okay. You have to personalize it because I think that the energy is very neutral on it. So amplify your mojo in the ho ho. Okay. Okay. Sherry, question is, but next week, guys, I will be doing live videos next week again, and I will be doing car polls next week. It's just this week. I'm starting to get my energy back. Thank God. I've been getting that burst again coming back. So that's good. And so next week we'll do live videos. So, I can answer questions for you, Mandy, or we can do live video next week, whatever you prefer. If you want me to say it for next week, that's cool too. So whatever you prefer, we can do that. Because I will be back to live readings next week or videos. So whatever you like. Sherry C says, having financial issues, it's for me to heal and grow. Been hard, missed payments, debts continue to due, and hardships. Only business has been tough lately. What do you see? It's going to keep being hard, or am I going to come out of it soon? Thank you. All right, Sherry. Well, this kind of question, Sherry, requires like a full session because I'll need to like dive deep into what's causing the financial issues, and then also what's going wrong with the business. So a question like this will require a full session, if it, in a sense. But I'm only saying this because I can only deliver partial of what needs to be said regarding such in time. Because I'm going to tell you why. I need to tell you why the finances are going bad, what your behaviors need to be to be changed in that, what your distractions are, and also what's going with your business and how to navigate your business in order to get that back on track. I can't do that on a live show, but that's how I would normally answer these questions. But I'm going to generalize a question for a live reading, because just one simple question in that sense for this, not a whole read, is that, I really feel like you've lost confidence in your own work. Right. And, there's something about the lack of confidence being individual in what you're doing. You're not allowing yourself to support yourself that way emotionally. So you're making the wrong decisions in that sense, or not seeing things clearly because you're lacking the confidence of doing it right. right? So this is definitely emotional. It's behavioral. So if we believe something, we'll behave based on how we believe, right? And then our actions will render those outcomes. So for me, you're lacking the confidence to think outside the box, to see things further out. That's keeping your decision making, your decisions in a box, so to speak, right? So you got to think outside the box. And I'm glad that Two of Wands is sitting here showing that to me, because that's all thinking outside the box. That's looking beyond the structure and the duality that you've been living in, and looking beyond of how to expand things, looking beyond of how you wish to actually really express these things. Things will pick up. But they're saying the reasoning for this is that you've been keeping your thinking too much inside of a box, and that's limited you from seeing the value outside of the rhythm you've been doing. That's caused you to fall behind, because you're not allowing yourself to catch up in that sense. But a question like this in a one-on-one reading, I'd get into why, what are your actual literal behaviors financially, the emotional behaviors financially, and what is going. I would look at your business, see what your business needs more of. That will be more of like a 30-minute going through, if not a full read. But for this time's sake, that's the best I can provide for you. You need to think outside the box more. Okay. And after, guys, a lot of times you guys ask questions that will require a full read, and that's okay. But I'm only saying to understand that the responses in this format for just one question like this will be very simplified version. But in my sessions, I guide my clients. This is what you're lacking in your career. This is supposed to go in this direction. This new expression. I work through the specifics in a session, just FYI, because I don't want you to think that's how I read. This is not how I read. I have to be simple for the parameters, but just at least giving you a heads up of the guidance of you're thinking too in the box. You need to think out of the box of how to work and build that confidence that you can do it individual by yourself. That will change the emotional perspective and how you see things, and thus change behaviors. And then you'll be more intuitive to what you need next. So again, I feel like it could be a rocky road until you do so. So there's actually no time prediction on this. Until you do make that change, you'll always have this like kind of rocky experience. I've done good, but I'm not sustaining it. I've done good, but I'm not sustaining it. That's the lacking of confidence. Okay. But confidence to me is saying, right, how comfortable you are with something. So be more comfortable about making your own decisions. Be more comfortable about stepping outside the box, and you'll be more confident with it. So, okay. All right, so go out to Mandy Longo. Okay, car accident, May 2025. When do you see us closing the lawsuit against the at-fault party, and how much longer till my right ankle foot heals? Curious if the tendon is torn. So waiting on MRI results. Well, some of these time-related questions, Mandy, are not written in stone. You are a reader, so you should understand this about psychic timing. I can only give you a variable somehow, it feels torn and sprained, the tendon, for one. But it's like, how something could be torn but not fully torn? Do you know what I mean? So I'm getting like an in-between with the torn thing. So perhaps it's like it's stretched but like has some torn but needs to heal. But so it feels like a torn but not a fully torn. That's what it feels like to me, the tendon. Right? So imagine, like if you pulled a rubber band, right? And then like you could pull away, it's like torn a little bit, but it's not completely torn, but it's like a little bit of ridges in it. That's what it feels like for me with the tendon. But I feel like there's a simple healing for that. That's what I feel like on the healing process. I think it's a simple healing. And so, it might be 6 to 8 months to like fully recover from the healing of such. And when I say fully, I mean where it's not really being cumbersome or problem in that sense, right? And so, yeah, I feel like in time it would be, but like 6 to 8 months to really mind it, and again, you'll feel good shorter than that, right? But at the same time, you'll start seeing that, you wouldn't have to think about it in that time frame. And I'm being very generous on the time frame. It could be a lot sooner than that, but it feels like a simple healing. Thank you, Mom. My mom says partial tears. Yeah. Yeah, it feels like a partial in that sense. But simple process. Now the lawsuit with the at-fault party, it's almost like they're saying that, okay, they have money for restitution, but they're gonna drag out the fact that they might not have the money. Do you know what I'm saying? it might be some delays with them. I feel like they're finagling something financially, like, oh, they have the money, but we don't have the money. So, it's like, but then they do. And so there's going to be, there might be a little bit of a delay on this. Okay. Or if it's a delay, it's whether or not the money is enough or not. Some issue with the amount, right? And able to proceed with the amount is what I feel like. So delay on it. But at the same time, maybe a little delay on like the amount, but then I feel like it resolves. It will resolve, right? So minor delay on the amount when we don't have it, or we can't provide it, or that's it. I'm looking for like the extreme, like trying to look for like what's the negative in this, but for the most part, like it feels like it goes on as planned, in that sense. Perhaps maybe what I'm feeling is maybe that they maybe not enough for the for the restitution, the healing part, but it might even just be a question. But I don't feel like there's anything getting away. Just maybe a slight delay. Just a slight delay. But Mandy, you don't have to. I mean, if you want to. I feel these questions are simple. Your questions don't require a full read, Mandy, so you're good. I was only saying it's not to sell you sessions for Sherry, but Sherry was saying like I would answer that more in depth with the time and the format, right? Because some require more distinct and specifics that I don't have time for here. So I was saying Sherry, no, because it's more specific and I can guide her more. And I only say it because I wish I could, but I just can't with the variable. But you're good, Mandy. This you don't need a reading on this. You don't need to book a person for this unless you have other things. But this is pretty simple, and I feel like the result will be simple, minus that little delay that I was talking about, whether or not it's the amount or something. But the healing, the slight tear, feels like that would be something easy to repair on. So you're good. You're good on that. That's cool. The spiritual stuff, that's cool too. And reading other stuff, for sure. Yeah, if you want to read other stuff too. But with those questions, those are simple. They're good. For other things, fantastic. But you're good on that, and understand the spiritual meaning behind that too. Okay, Mandy. They're saying just to slow down a little bit. Okay, I know it sounds simple. Slow down just a little bit. Maybe just like pushing a little too much right now. I feel like too. Especially with any issues that creates mobility issues. Always a spiritual lesson. Just like take your time more on things. Just take your time a little bit, learn, because when you do, you can appreciate and really see the messaging behind things. They're saying you're going too much. You're trying to do too much, right? And this also is a sign for me that, sometimes you're allowing yourself to be, preyed by other people's energy at other people's expenses. Do you know what I'm saying? So, and I think you look at this, like somebody else is at fault. Now I'm kind of, put out because someone else is careless. It's like, it's like you're being careless with yourself. That's allowing yourself to be a privy to other people's behaviors and actions that you want to stop that. So look at that. That's an overarching spiritual message behind this too. So take your time and don't allow yourself to be a privy to other people's energy, other people's mistakes, so to speak, in life. Because I think there's a consistent current of this. And this way you'll always navigate and stay away from, you won't attract such circumstances because it wouldn't align with your energy state, or wouldn't be something that's already in motion in your life, and that's what I've learned, that paradox in life too. That's like the more time you take doing something, the quicker things happen. The more you try to rush things, the slower things happen. It's very interesting. And so that's even just physics, right? The more space you take, I think the less time you experience. The less space you take, the more time you experience, right? So again, if you're taking your time through space and you're taking that space up, time will take shorter for you. If you're trying to rush through and take out a little amount of space and occupy space, then time will drag out. That's actually just physics. So be in a good rhythm. Take your time with things. Take that space, and time will be a lot shorter. And plus, if you think rationally, if you take time with things, you won't make mistakes. You'll catch mistakes. You won't make them, and you won't have to redo things either. So even think rationally in that sense. So, okay, Kristen Villaro, I love you too. What do you see for me in the rest of May, June? Is there anything I should know? Well, remember, Kristen, these are simple messages here, and I'm keeping it simple because of my burnout. I don't know if you heard it in the beginning of the session. But that's a lot, Kristen. That's a lot to unpack for May, June. Maybe that's a good thing. I feel it's a lot unpacked. Maybe it's not one specific thing. I'll pull a card on this and kind of see, because that's very general and that requires a lot of digging. But we'll summarize. Remember, these questions got to be more summarized. Got to summarize them. Hold on a second here. I have to tell my partner to... Or maybe I can do it. It's just getting hot in here. May, June. There's a lot, though. I just keep feeling like move energy. You know, move or new home energy. It's just home emphasis. You know, you might feel so. Okay, so like I heard move, right, and so I can't take too much time on this because of time sake, right? But I have to be simple too. The initial things I get when I read this is I just feel like there'd be more direction with work. They could have a more of a distinct direction with work, and I felt a move. Either or move or new home energy. So move could be movement in your direction of career, but then also I feel like moving but like with new home energy. So either it's a new home or you redo your home, you make it new, right? So like there could be emphasis on home, but at the same time I also felt a new clear direction on career. Almost like it felt more like a certainty, like you feel a certainty about career. So it could be a connection, it could be a relationship, career relationship, it could be an opportunity. You know what I mean? It feels a lot of that. And I feel like a push forward, moving forward. You know what I mean? Like no trepidation. So that's what I feel like kind of the rest of May and June. So and it's very emotional to me because I feel like you emotionally feel settled to move forward. You know what I mean? So that feels good in that sense. You know. We have Rashida. Okay, question 1. The person who promised to do work for me has gone ghost again. Any read of the situation? Is it time to just let it go? Yes, it is. I said it before. There's a lack of seriousness there. So yes, it's time to let that go. And I'll get more into that. Let me just read the second question. Will my daughter and her boyfriend moving in together be a good thing for them? Let me go back to the person ghosting again. Yes, I just don't feel like that your partner is like there's goods and bads, right? But no, this is the inconsistency. I feel like I've read the last time you asked a question about this partner. Like there's an inconsistency of showing up and delivering and the importance level of things, right? There was goods in a sense of I feel like it brings out creativity in you, but at the same time, I just don't feel like there's a consistency that they can match, right? And this is kind of reflecting that inconsistency that I think is not good for any type of work, business, anything. So, yeah, I would let that go for sure. I don't feel like they're going to resurrect that energy, to be honest with you. Even if, I mean, I don't feel like the excuse of ghosting is, oh, like something bad happened to my family. I don't feel that. I don't feel that with this person. I think this person just, they lack confidence. They lack insight. They lack consistency. They lack having priority. And that's the issue. So no, that inconsistent energy still stands. But the second question, will your daughter and your boyfriend be moving to be a good thing? Yeah, I mean, I feel like they're on the same page. Sorry, I'm just logging in. I'm multitasking. I feel like they're on the same page. I feel like your daughter and the boyfriend are kind of on the same page. It feels like kind of chill them moving in together, I feel like they kind of are like two peas in a pod energy, actually. Does that mean the relationship itself is perfect? No. But yeah, I mean, I feel like they do get along well when it comes to cohabitating in that sense. So they have other issues, but it just feels like your daughter feels secure with it. Your daughter feels like she feels certain about it, right? And so I just like they play well together in that sense. So yeah, and it might just be kind of like normal for them, you know? So yeah, it feels good to me. It feels like they're on the same page with everything in that sense. Yeah. Oh, interesting. Yeah. Yeah. I think he calms her down. That makes sense. A lot of like, yeah, they are. I think he calms her down. Like, I feel like she feels like secure to calm with him, you know? So, or she makes him feel secure. Or he brings like a sense of security with her, you know? So, yeah, I think it's a good thing. Feels it to me, right? Last but certainly not least, and we love our Beth, right? Beth L. We love you, and last but certainly not least, and the readings are closed, guys. So I appreciate all those who had your questions today. I love all you guys. Hopefully, I was able to assist today, and I appreciate you guys for keeping it short. You guys are amazing, so I appreciate that tremendously. Because you guys, I know you guys feel me. You guys know where I'm coming from. You guys get it, right? So. Okay, so the question is, has the man that has been taking me out on dates ever had sex with anyone in our inner circle group, anyone around church functions, dances, etc.? That's a huge spectrum of people. Yes, only because I feel like that's only where he dabbles. But yes, I feel, yes, he has had interactions with and intercourse with the circle of energy. I don't think this person is whorish, though. Maybe like others, like sleeps around a lot. But I feel like there has been some occurrences in that sense, you know. But I still feel like they've dated, you know. So I don't think they're like always sleeping around with somebody and, you know, creepy. But I feel like they've had their share of mingling. I'll say that, Beth. They've had their share of mingling. So, you know, but I think it's safe to say, love, just, this is logically speaking, but I also feel this intuitively that most of these people in this group have had, relations with others in that group. I will say that. Okay. So we'll just leave it there. But use your discernment and ask yourself, is that really important or not if he's showing up for you? Is that important? So yes. All right. Well, that was last but certainly not least of those who pay their questions and put their questions in. Take advantage of this energy, guys, moving forward. Take advantage of this energy of, understanding what is true for you. I know it sounds so freaking cliche, but if it sounds cliche, that means you don't really understand what it means. I used to be that guy back in my 20s. I heard all the cliche spiritual shit. I'm like, oh, it's so cliche. But then now at 43, especially, of course, through my evolution, understanding what those cliche statements really meant is so life-changing. It's so different, when you understand what they really mean. So ask yourself, when you hear these cliche sentiments and these very simplistic bumper sticker, type of phrases, do you really know what it really means to feel that? Do you really understand what it means to know your own truth? And if your own truth is always defensive, Mama, I'm talking to you on that one. I'm just kidding, Mama. If everything is in defense of something, you gotta look in your own truth that's also in acceptance of things too. Many people know their voice based on what they don't like and what makes them feel bad. It's like, that's not really a voice. That's just a disdain. That's just a trigger. What is your heart and truth of your voice that doesn't repress anything else in your life or anybody else? Start from there. Because when you understand and really know what your voice is, your true heart is, that's what's life-changing. And that opens your eyes. And don't be afraid to express that voice, that understand that people are going through their own challenges. And those of you who've gone through loss in your lives, those of you who've gone through major traumas in your life, so I'm just seeing who's sending me a text here, then, understand that other people have gone through other things too, No, Mom, you're not defensive. I'm saying when you use your voice, sometimes it's, you don't come from from loving you, it comes from standing up to protect, right? So defensive is more if protection mode, right? And I had the same thing. I was always protection mode, right? So if you're always in protection mode, and I spent a lot of my life in protection mode because of what I went through, then you also want to look at what is your heart saying too, outside of being protective, right? And so my mom texts me, like, I'm defensive. Like, no. Don't be defensive about that. I said, you're in protective mode a lot. And so I'm just saying that to my mom too, to listen, that you guys don't, your protection energy comes from heart. Like, being protective comes from heart. What is the heart really saying? That's what we're saying about the heart, right? And so, it's just a mom's life to be protective. And my mom, I would say, my mom had to raise her own freaking family. My mom lost her mom at 15, right? And then my mom also had to take care of her 2 brothers and father. And then her own father abandoned her because, didn't want anything to do with my mom for no reason and her children. So my mom had to be a fighter. And she had to be my mom was a strong woman. She had to remain that, And so when I kind of nudged my mom in that conversation, my mom doesn't have to fight and protect anymore. It's time she can use her heart, right? Come from the true heart. And that's what I'm saying, moms. And I see a lot of us have been challenged with that. A lot of us who've gone through a lot of challenges and trauma always stay in protection mode. And defensive mode doesn't mean that you're being triggered. Defensive mode is like you're like ready to defend and protect. And so, I mean, in that context. And so a lot of us who've been through a lot of shit, we don't have to stay in those modes anymore. We can let go. We can come from the heart and be like, you know what? Yeah, that person that made me uncomfortable. Yeah, there might be a guy dressed in a wig or pumped the woman with the surgery, but they're hurting. They're hurting, and they're just wearing their pain. And so when we understand this, we just say we're all just trying to figure it out. We're all figuring it out. And some people do it in different ways. Some people have different karma that they're learning. Some people are trying to learn self-acceptance and they're not doing it right. So they're injecting their faces and their bodies and they're just trying to learn self-acceptance. They just can't. They're having a problem with that. Do we need to be kicking them in the balls in that process? Or do we need to be loving them and accepting them, saying, look, you don't need this. And so these are things that we have to really look at. My mom and I had a huge, with the whole like fat acceptance stuff, body positivity stuff. My mom and I had a huge issue with that. I'm like, they're endorsing obesity. This is not a good thing. And I said to my mom, Mom, wait, what if this is kind of reverse psychology? What if we teach them how to actually love themselves? Maybe they will actually then start putting love into their bodies and lose the weight, actually. So maybe even though it seems so overtly bad, but they feel confident in themselves, they start appreciating themselves, then they'll find what love really is and actually lose the weight, right? And so I think Lizzo's been losing weight and she's been getting crap for Adele was losing weight and then she's getting crap for that too because they were like, oh, now people get wrapped up in saying like, no, you're supposed to accept your fatness. Like, no. They were allowing themselves to feel beautiful as they are, to understand what it feels like to be beautiful as the essence. But when you reach that true essence, then you actually want to change and put the real love into yourself and you'll treat your body with respect. So, I had to look at that way. Like all this stuff that we're putting in our faces. I'm like, no, you can't tell people it's okay to be obese. And I'm thinking, well, wait, if they feel good and they understand what it's like to love themselves and to really feel that goodness, they'll actually treat themselves with respect and lose the weight. And be kind to their bodies, so there's always exceptions to the rule. But I've actually noticed a lot of people who did fall into that category started wanting to work out. I'm like, I want to work out. I want to lose weight, and I want to, make myself better, And so let's look at things just from a little abstract perspective, and understand how we can truly be an effective, influence on people. I think it's important, no matter where they come from. I talk a lot about the Christian religion. I'm never talking about Christian people, though, unless they're pastors and stuff. But I still have people, Christian friends, and I still have lovely Christian supportive friends. So I'm never against Christians. It's the ideology that's been enforced and sensationalized in our societies I have an issue with, and the pastors, like I talked about last week. But I still have Christian friends. I have friends who have different religions, different spiritual beliefs, and we all just accept each other's diversity in thought. And we get along, right? Because I believe there's truth in all of it. Right? And so they have the right to be such. And I love Yeshua. I love the story of Yeshua. I don't like the organized religion of it, but I love the story of Christ and those who follow and want to be like Christ. I've seen a lot of people who've come from, addiction. They find religion. That's a ladder for them too. So it's not all bad. There's a lot of positives to there's a duality to everything. And so I want to clarify that when I talk about religion, I'm just speaking about like the fundamentals that's been infiltrated in the collective consciousness in regards to religion, is what I'm always speaking against. Not people. Because people just you can't put blanket statements on people, but there are sometimes that does resurrect a collective of people that infiltrate those ideologies and beliefs that we need to be aware of too, right? Anyways, guys, I love you all very much. You're all very good. I'm going to go take my rest, relaxation. And those of you who are going to Unite the Light or streaming Unite the Light, I will see you on the live stream because I'll be moderating during a break for a couple hours. And that's it. And then next week we'll go back to normal. And hopefully Nina will have a message for us back to normal too next week. And I'll be back to doing some live videos and card pulls again as normal. And so guys, get your rest. Take care of yourselves right now. If you guys feel like you need to lay down, lay down. I know a lot of people saying they were sleeping for 12 hours. Allow yourselves to do it. You're not going to do it forever. And thank God. And like I said before, you want to come back new again. And so is that we always like that new energy. So when you rest, you come back new. It's more exciting. Take the rest of this week to do that. Take this weekend. I'm signing that permission slip for you guys to allow yourselves to rest this weekend and to just chillax and not have an agenda this week. It's okay. You have decades of life left to have an agenda. And just by taking some snoozers and some relaxation doesn't mean you're like going off that track. Take that time. We need it this week, okay? Because things are going to start picking up. It's a month of May. Things start really picking up and going into like May and also June, July. Things are really, and then moving now. Movement's happening now. But take the finalization of this week. And, May's going to be that catapult of movement. Okay. Love you all. And if you didn't watch LOL last night, catch a replay. We talked about manifesting crystal cities. Just really talking about harnessing the spiritual gifts within and understanding what that means. And we talked about that last night as well. And also the kind of collective read and the astrology for this week and months ahead as well. And catch us next week too. And also catch me next week as well. It's the same time, same place. And if you want to book a one-on-one session, of course, they're more in depth. Have to be clear because I know people watch me. I don't want them to think that my mini reads is how I really read in a session. Not the same at all. Okay, my reads are designed, my one-on-one private sessions are designed to be specific, on point, guiding with clarity about everything. So scottcruisepm.com. I still have some bookings left for May, and then I think May's almost booked out already. I still have to think maybe next week or something, or last week, some openings. Then I'll open up June and we'll go from there. And so scottcruisepm.com, life readings, and again with life readings I could do past life regression, spiritual mentorship, relationship advice, career advice, insight, what's going on, how to clear out certain past traumas, karma, health mediumship, all that great stuff. Also mediumship to connect with those who crossed over as well, and also my intuition builder course to tap into more what your specific abilities are and how to harvest them and to express them too. It's all on scottcruisepm.com, and find me here too. And if you have any suggestions of topics, leave them in the comments, not in the live chat, but in the comments. If you have any topics you want me to discuss moving forward, I do run out of topics. I've been doing this now for a year and a half, and every week has been a new topic, so I'm bound to repeat a few. I haven't kind of yet, but we'll see. But if you have any topics of suggestion, please leave them in the chat and let me know, and I'd love to kind of share those insights and have you guys participate more as well. All right. Love you all. Have a wonderful rest of your night, guys. Remember, you're all the gods and goddesses of your own myth. What do you want to create? Much love. Good night. I will leave you with, again, my long commercial and testimonials until I create a new commercial. This week, guys can still hover in the chat until we close. All right. Good night. See you next week.
I just want to say thank you, Scott, for all of your reassurance and guidance. I had a mediumship reading and you brought my uncle and my mother-in-law forward. And I mean, there was things that you said that nobody would know. Like, it was so accurate. It was insane. And I appreciate the closure that I got and the peace that I felt. And I really appreciate even more that you are a genuine person who truly cares. That made the biggest difference for me. Thank you, Scott.
Hey, I just wanted to take a minute to thank Scott Cruz. He made such a huge difference in my grief. I'm a little bit emotional because he just said things about my husband and my papa that there's no way anybody could have known or guessed. I know my children were skeptical. Scott told me they would visit me, and they both are together, and they have both visited me together. He told me things about my grandchildren, nicknames. There's nothing he could have known beforehand. So I definitely appreciate him, and if you're having any issues, struggling through grief and needing some guidance or just needing to feel okay, talk to Scott.
Hey there, my name is Chad, and over the past 6 or 7 years, I've probably had about 4 or 5 readings with Scott Cruz. He brought up personal things that I don't know how nobody else would know but me, and he brought them up, which was just incredible. And one thing I will say is Scott tends to talk fast, so take notes. I've taken notes since the very beginning because sometimes they don't make sense. He'd said something, it didn't make sense to me. And then a year and a half later, after I had spoken to someone and I reread those notes, I was like, oh wow, Scott nailed it back then. Didn't make sense then, but it made sense as time passed, I was able to find something out. It was just incredible. And the last thing is what I like about Scott is he doesn't seek out fame or fortune from this. He genuinely wants to help people. I thoroughly recommend an appointment with Scott. Go ahead and book it. You won't be disappointed.
Scott Cruz is popularly known for his life-changing one-on-one readings to also guide in your soul ascension journey. With life readings, get insight into your relationships, career, health, trauma healings, past life regressions, and more. Want to connect with a loved one who's transitioned? Scott's mediumship session can be the gateway to you and your loved ones in spirit bridging the gap between the physical and the spiritual realm. If you want to enhance your own psychic ability, Scott's Intuition Builder session can help expand your psychic and mediumship abilities. So sign on to scottcruzpm.com to book your own personal session today.